Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is already that time of month again, and this is my August wrap up. So if you already can't tell by my intro, I'm a little sick right now, so my voice is just not pleasant. All the things that come with sickness, so it's awesome. But yeah, I read 9 books this last month in August, and I DNF'd 1 book. It's only my second DNF of the year, so I need to get better because there's definitely some books that I've read that I'm like, oh, I should not have finished that, but it is already September 1st, which is so crazy. The summer's over. We're getting into fall, so I've decided to wear my sweater even though it's still 80 degrees outside. I was feeling fall, all those things. So we are going to start with the first book I read this month, which was actually my DNF, and it's All Relative by Rachel Magee. It was an arc that I got, and so I feel really bad DNFing arcs, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. You don't want to waste your time reading a book that you don't enjoy. And so I had a really hard time getting into it, and there's 2 couples love stories in this one, and it was compared to Midsummer's Night Dream, is that what it's called? I don't know, I think it's Shakespeare. I don't know that story, so I didn't really understand the plot of this book, if it's any way similar. I just didn't like it. I don't want to talk about it very much. It just was not my favorite, and it necessarily wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. I still gave it 3 stars, even though I DNF'd it at like 50%. I'll probably pick it up again. I just was not into the story, and I just wanted to read something that I would actually enjoy. The next book I read was Summer Tease by Martha Keyes. And this one is about Beau and Gemma, and Beau is a cop, and Gemma basically hates this island where they all live. This is part of the Summer Ever After series, which I already read a book last month in July, the first one in the series, and I read basically the rest of them this month. So yeah, it's about Gemma and Beau, and they are kind of a Romeo and Juliet situation where their families do not get along, and Gemma's family was driven off the island basically by Beau's family. And so she comes back to the island to take care of her grandma. Her grandma needs to move to the old folks' home. And so she needs to, like, take care of her grandma's house and, like, figure out how to sell it. And so she's back into Beau's life, and they butt heads. Well, she butts heads with him. He is infatuated with her, obviously. And so, anyway, it's their love story. It's one point of view. So single point of view, it's just her point of view, which I don't necessarily love. So I gave this one 3.5 stars, and I listened to it on audiobook. It wasn't a bad audiobook. I actually really enjoyed the audiobook. I think I would prefer over actually reading this one. So yeah, it's a great summer read. I don't necessarily not recommend it. It was cute. But it wasn't like the best one in this series in particular. Then I have an actual physical copy here of Beauty and the Beach by Gracie Ruth Mitchell. And this one was my 5 stars of this month. I loved it so much. It's a marriage of convenience. I've already talked about this book before. And I loved it. I loved it. It's about Phoenix and Holland, and they do not get along at all. They're kind of enemies. They grew up together. He was her brother's best friend. Her brother passes away, and so they have that shared trauma together. And so he asks her to marry him so he can inherit his family's company. And so she's like, well, I don't have any money. So she's like, fine, I'll marry you, even though we hate each other. And so they get married. It goes from there. It was really cute. Eventually, they fell in love, whatever. I loved it. I loved it. Probably my favorite marriage of convenience that I've read. And I've read a couple. Not as much as I thought I did from my last video that I did. Probably, this was definitely my favorite of the Summer Ever After series. This is book 5, I think. Yeah, I think this one's book 5. So yeah, loved it. Then we've got Beyond Ivy Walls by Rachel Fordham. I gave this one 2.5 stars. I didn't love it. I didn't love it at all. It was also an arc, and it should have been a DNF for me, but I really wanted to get it done. And it's about this guy named Otis and this girl, her name is Sadie, and her family is destitute, basically. Her father gets hurt, so he can't work, and so she has to go work for him. I think this is the early 1900s, like 1903, I'm pretty sure is the time. And so she goes to work in like a feather factory to make like feather dusters, And so she doesn't have a place to stay because she doesn't have any money. And so she's like squatting at this warehouse. And this warehouse ends up being Otis's warehouse. It's like on his family's property. And he comes back after his dad and his brother pass away. So he inherits the home. And so he finds her squatting and he's like, what are you doing on my property? And anyway, so they get to know each other. He hires her at his house and he is severely disfigured on his face. And I'm not going to say like what, but it's pretty horrifying. It's like what happened to him was pretty horrifying. And I couldn't really stomach it very well. So if you're kind of queasy about like, it's basically parental abuse, I wouldn't recommend this. It was not that good. I didn't like it. It's not that I'm against the author or her writing. Her writing was great. I just could not invest in this story, and I just, like, I didn't like it. And I feel really bad, but you may like it. If you enjoy Rachel Fordham's books, which I know there are a ton of Christian booktubers who highly recommend her, I just don't think she's particularly for me. Then I read Plotting Summer by Jess... Heileman? Heileman? I'm sure it's Heileman. I gave this one 4 stars. It was also an audiobook that I received. I don't know if you can hear that hawk that just flew by my window. Anyway, it's about Tristan and Capri. It's not Capri. I thought it was Capri. It's Capri. So when the audiobook narrator was saying her name, I was like, okay, this is really bothering me because I know a Capri, but her name is actually pronounced Capri, and that was really bothering me, but it's fine. So anyway, Capri is a author, and she has a pen name, so nobody knows who she is, who the actual author of all of her books are, and so she's kind of keeping it secret, and her pen name is called Sunny Palmer. And Palmer is Tristan's last name. And she crushed on him for forever, but he kind of turned her down in high school and whatever, and so she's got problems with that. It's not that they're enemies, they're actually friends, and it's really cute. It's like a friends to lovers thing, and secret identity and all that stuff. Tristan is actually Beau's brother. Beau is the cop in Summer Tease, and so they're actually siblings. So all of the Summer Ever After series is interconnected. They all are on the same timeline. I've talked about this before in a previous video of mine. And so yeah, this series was really fun. I actually still have one more that I read in this pile. Great summer setting. These characters were adorable. It was just very sweet. It was very sweet. There was nothing really to it. It wasn't some crazy plot, but it was cute. I really enjoyed their relationship. They were very sweet together. Especially since they were just like friends. They were friends to lovers. I don't read a lot of friends to lovers books. Mostly enemies to lovers is like one of my tropes that I enjoy. But this one was just very sweet. Then I read Rebel Summer by Cindy Steele. I gave this one 3.5 or 3. Let me look at my stars here. 3.5. I also listened to this on audiobook, and it's single POV, which knocks my rating down. I really don't like when it's just the female's point of view. I like both, especially the male's point of view, because you get inside their head and you see what they're thinking. So it's about Ivy and Dax, and he's kind of the island bad boy. He was kind of a bad boy in high school. That was his reputation. She was the good girl. Her dad was the senator or whatever, or the mayor. I don't remember what he is, but he's a politician. She does not get along with her dad, and they have a really, really bad relationship. But it was cute. Dax owns a car shop. He's a mechanic, and she does something to get her some probation, and she has to do some service hours, and so she has to work with Dax. And so it's like a forced proximity situation. It was cute. I enjoyed it. It just wasn't my favorite in the series. And I didn't enjoy the fact that she and her dad had such a terrible relationship. And I don't know if this is a spoiler, so if it is, skip the next 5 seconds. They do not reconcile. So it's really sad. But, oh gosh. Still liked it though. It was still cute, just not necessarily my favorite. I would honestly recommend this entire series. This is the last book in the series. I've read 5 of them. I think I've only haven't read 2. Super cute, and I can honestly say they were all just really sweet and cute. Nothing fantastic. Their plots weren't like, wow, this is amazing. The writing's good, and they were just cute. That's all I can say. They were just cute. Then I read This Means War by Heather Miekstyn. I'm just going to say Miekstyn. This is her first Christian romance that she's written. She was writing YA and new adult, I'm pretty sure. And this is like her first like Christian adult rom-com basically. And it was really cute. I gave this one 4.5 stars. And it's about Lydia. Oh my gosh. What is his name? Hold on. Going to my Goodreads, looking at all this. I'm just so bad with names. I literally have to write them all down or I just like don't know. Lydia and Cole. So they knew each other in high school. She's a bit younger than he is. And he was best friends with her brother. So another brother's best friend. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And so he rejected her, and she's held like a grudge like her whole life because she was bullied for what he had said to her when he turned her down. I mean, they're 5 years apart. She was 13 and he was 18 at the time, so like I don't fault him for his decision not to want to date her. So she's held a giant grudge for like the past decade. And they reunite for her brother's wedding, and the next thing they know, she's pregnant. And so he's like, all right, well, we gotta get married for both our sakes. She's like a teacher at a Christian school, and he is running for Senate, and he's already like the mayor. Wow, sorry. He's like the mayor of the town already, and he wants to run for the Senate, so he's like, well, this scandal can't get out that I got a woman pregnant. And she tried to save herself from marriage, and so she's just like extremely distraught. She thinks that God doesn't love her. She thinks that she doesn't deserve his love. And so that's kind of like what the story is about. Oh my gosh. I'm literally gonna pass away. Yes, anyway, that's what the story is about. It's about like forgiveness, forgiving yourself, and reminding yourself that God still loves you, even when you make mistakes. So yeah, it was really cute. It's a marriage of convenience. I forgot to name that part. It's a marriage of convenience. A really cute story. It was just so sweet, and I had a great message. Highly recommend this one. And I actually don't have the last 3 books that I read this month in my little book form. I'm slacking so bad, but I will eventually get them done. I just don't have them done right now. I needed to record this video. But then I read Runaway Bride and Prejudice by Emma St. Clair. I gave this one 4.25 stars. I've never gave that rating before, but it felt appropriate because I was like, it's not necessarily a 4-star. It's a little bit better than that, but it's not a 4.5 star. So I was like, you know what? Middle ground, 4.25 stars. So this one is about Van and Amelia. This is part of the Appy's hockey series. I've read them all now. I think there are 5. I think this one was the 5th one, and then there's one more in the series that's being written, and it's a dual author series. So Jenny Proctor and Emma St. Clair are the authors for this series, and I've liked like all of them. They've all been above 3 stars. But yeah, anyway, this one's about Van. He's kind of the team bad boy. He kind of has that reputation of getting around, dating a lot of women. Amelia, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the plot right now. Oh, Amelia is the head coach's daughter, and so she's like off limits, like completely off limits, and they all know that. And she's getting married, and he finds something out, and he tells her, and she calls off her wedding, whatever. He takes her to her honeymoon, and to where she was supposed to go on her honeymoon with her ex-fiance. And so they go together and they get to know each other. It was really cute. I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time. It was just like fun. It was just a fun book. Not necessarily about hockey, even though it's part of this hockey series. I thought it was adorable. Amelia and Van were really cute. I think they're my favorite couple in the series as well. It was my favorite, to my star ratings, it was my favorite. Most of my other ones were 4 stars, 3.5. This one was 4.25, so this was like the best rating that I gave, and so it's ultimately my favorite one. And honestly, I would recommend this whole series. There were some that like were not my favorite, like I think Absolutely Not in Love is one of the books in the series. Yeah, and it's part of the Sweater Weather series as well, and that one was not my favorite, but it was still good. Like, I think you would still enjoy it if you enjoy a hockey romance. And that one just recently came out. Like, these all have been arcs so far, and they should all be out now. So you can go and read them all. Then I listened to The Perfect Putt by Annah Conwell. And this one I gave 3 stars to. I just think I did not like the audiobook. Ultimately. The audiobook knocked it down a star. Like a whole star. I did not enjoy it. But it was an audiobook arc for me. And I couldn't get a hold of the physical copy or like the ebook. And I don't have Kindle Unlimited. Like, who's a booktuber? Oops. Who's a booktuber and doesn't have Kindle Unlimited? Me. I don't. So, The Perfect Putt is about Ellie and Miles, and he is a professional golfer, and he's like won the Masters before, and twice before, and he's trying to win again, and he needs to hire an assistant, so he hires Ellie, and they don't know each other, and she hates golf. She thinks golfers are pretentious, rich, spoiled brats, basically, and they're like, you just hit a ball around, golf's not that hard, whatever. One of those people. He hires her as his new assistant, so it's boss employee, forced proximity, she works for him, and their romance was just completely unbelievable. Like, she was rude to him. She was really rude, and I was not a fan of that. And then all of a sudden, like, I guess I kind of listened to it passively while I was painting. Real fast. I am a full-time artist. That's my occupation. Back to what I'm talking about. So I was painting, and I was kind of listening to it passively, and all of a sudden, she doesn't hate him anymore, and she wants to kiss him. And it's completely unprofessional. If this was like a real-life story, she would be fired for the way that she behaves. She's extremely abrasive and rude, and she now is in love with him because she's, you know, that's what happens in these books. And they were just really bland. They were very bland characters, and I was just, like, not a fan. I was really not a fan. And their romance was just lackluster. It just felt really rushed, and it felt like it couldn't happen. Like, how are these people in love? They don't make any sense. But that's not saying anything bad against Anna Conwell. I've never read any of her books. This was actually the first one. And I'm actually listening to The Golden Goal, which is the first book in this sports series. It's like each book is a different sport, but all the guys in the series are friends, and they're all professional athletes. And so the first book is a hockey one, The Golden Goal. And I'm actually listening to that one right now, and I actually enjoy it. The audiobook is actually really good. This isn't saying that Anna Conwell is a bad author. I just didn't like this particular story. It just felt unbelievable to me. And anyway, I said I would give her other books a chance, and I'm listening to this one right now. I'm like, this one's way better, and this one's the first book in the series, and this one's the second. So that's my advice to you, that if you don't like the first book you read of an author, give a couple more a chance, maybe just one, maybe two. Give them a chance, because you may like one of their books. And if you just don't vibe with the author at all, that's fine. But at least give them one more chance, two more chances to see if you will like their stories. Because you can't like just say that you don't like their books after reading just one, you know? Unless you really just don't vibe with their writing or whatever. Then the last book I read this month was Ship Fate by Dulcie Dameron, and she's actually a Christian author, I'm pretty sure, and I gave this one 4.5. This one was super cute. It's about Lola and Perry, and it's a Grumpy Sunshine book. I haven't read a Grumpy Sunshine in so long, and I loved it. He's a true grump. Sometimes they're, like, kind of abrasive, and I'm like, you're not grumpy, you're just rude. He's kind of just, like, shy a little bit, but comes off as grumpy, and I think he truly is grumpy because of that. He doesn't do well in social situations, and I get that a lot, and so I really liked him. But basically, Lola is a she's an archaeologist in the ocean. So she digs up, like, shipwrecks, all that stuff, and they discover stuff like that in the ocean. So they have a shipwreck site they're going to, and they need to hire a water taxi is what they call them. And she hires Perry. And Perry actually didn't want to do the job in the first place. And she has to go on his boat and is like, hey, I hired you. And he's like, I got your call, but I didn't answer you. And so she's like, well, you have to do this job. So she's, like, super sunshiny. She's like, okay, well, let's do this. And she tries to get him to like her. And it's really cute. I really liked their love story. And the plot was different than anything I've ever read. And this was my first book by Dulcie Dameron. And I really enjoyed her writing. Like, she writes really well. And her stories are well thought out. And her plots are fabulous. It was just like a story. It just felt like a story that I've never read before. Because sometimes I get into too many contemporary romance books at once. And they all feel the same. And this one, it was just a little different. It was a little different. It was definitely a storyline that I've never read before. Like, she's an archaeologist. I've never read a book that the one of the main characters is an archaeologist. It was really enjoyable to me. Very cute, forced proximity, Grumpy Sunshine, all the things. It was really sweet. So I'm sure you're now sick of my sick voice. I'm sick of it. I've been talking too long. My throat is starting to hurt. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun this month. I thought I had a lot of really good reads. I had a lot of really bad reads. So I think it was like a 50-50. Like, I had reads that I didn't enjoy and reads that I really, really enjoyed. So I don't think it was a bad month. I think it was a good month. It was a good month. And I will probably be getting another video out in the next week or two. I'm doing so much better. I am trying to push myself to get out more content, and it's been fun. It's been fun thinking of new ideas and new videos instead of just my wrap-ups, so I hope you will enjoy these upcoming videos. I don't think there's anything else that I need to say. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that I need to say. So, again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.